hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Happy Saturday to you. And thank you all so much for being here. Let me say hello to a few people. Hey, Susie Q. First face I saw when I opened up the comments or chats, rather. All right, so I'm scrolling all the way back to the beginning, and it was Sela. C was here first. Well, hello to you too. Thank you for being here. Lydia Washington, Sharon Chung, Fatima Owen, Margarita Taylor, Helen Marmon. Hi, Helen. Or as Isabel Sanford would say, hi, Helen. Oh, hi, Helen. George, the Willises are here. George, hi, Helen. Let's see. Sharon Chung, yes. Black Queen is here. Shirley Kearney, hi, Shirley. Emerald Derrick, hi. Mary H. And let's see. Fancy Jan Martin. Kathy Gabby, Rosa Roberts, rather. Emerald Derrick, and Annie Bullard. Did I say that already? Anyway, Annie wants to say hi to a few people. Gwen Daniels. All right, so I'm just going to go slide through here really fast. Hi, Cynthia Thorpe. And Lorna Williams. Educate you too. Let me see here. I'm looking, make sure we don't have, hi Navide, make sure we don't have any super stickers, or super chats rather. Outsiders Perspective, Desiree T, Audrey Teschner, hey, and Connie Balmer. Hey, Connie Balmer. Let's see here. Fabi Barron. Okay. Okay, and Fu. All right, so let's go all the way to the very last hello right here. Sharon Augustine, and to everybody I missed, like Janice Goodrich, Elaine Parker. Okay, Lola. Annie Bennett, Reba Henderson, hello. Okay, happy Saturday, you guys, and thank you for being here. Anyway, well, we'll see. We'll see. We ain't going to be on for 3.5 hours thinking about the good old days. I tell you that much. We did that yesterday. Let me see here. What else do I need to do? Oh, okay. I got my slides. I guess I'm good. Hi, Mackenzie. All right, so it is Saturday. Let's have a little tea for Saturday. Okay, and yesterday was the 10th, right? How did I forget Leontyne Price's birthday? Leontyne Price, and it's Black History Month, rather. Black History Month, and I failed to mention Leontyne Price's birthday. How could I be so careless? Leontyne Price, one of the most celebrated careers of anyone in opera, not to mention someone from a very humble African American background. But Leontyne Price, I have a few of her albums actually. Now, I remember one time back at the old Tower Records. You guys remember Tower Records? Well, they had a poster that Leontyne Price had signed, and she had obviously arrived at that store one beautiful day back in I'm going to say it was the 1990s, maybe, to promote her album. And well, anyway, she signed the poster. It was huge. I wish I could say it was in my living room right now, but it is not. When the store closed, I'm pretty sure that somebody put a bid in or someone wanted it, but never knew what happened to that poster. But it was giant. It would have taken up most of the wall from top to bottom. And I wish I had that poster, but I do not. But that's how much I love Leontyne Price. Sometimes when I just need to chill and relax, I will listen to her. And my favorite from Leontyne is when she sings Puccini. Give me Leontyne Price and anything Puccini, and that makes for a fine evening or even afternoon. But yeah, so I have my favorites, and I just love her. And also when she sang with the, I think it was the Vienna Boys Choir, and she sang Ave Maria. That was haunting, enchanting. So that's how much I love Leontyne Price. And of course, this is one of my favorite images of her. Now, I believe she is still very much alive. She's was born in 1927, so she is what, 96 years old? Yeah, so she is still alive and kicking. And she was at the Oprah Winfrey Legends Ball. And I remember how she was so overcome with emotion because all of these legends were there and they were celebrating each other. And I just remember she was in tears. And I forgot what made her cry, but I do remember she was in tears. Tears of joy, of course, tears of recognition. And if you guys haven't seen that, I don't know if Oprah makes it available or not. You know, Oprah likes to put stuff in the vault. But if you get a chance to see it, I would love to see that again myself. That was like one of the best anythings that Oprah has ever done. And she's done a lot of powerful things, but the Legends Ball. And it all started because she had failed to mention someone at another occasion, or I think it was they didn't get invited to her birthday or something, and she felt bad about it, and so she decided that she would have a Legends Ball to make sure that no one was overlooked, not even the younger legends like let's say Mariah Carey or Janet Jackson. Uh, great event, and I would love to see that again. Oh, thank you so much for the Cash App. I didn't. Oh, that bell is kind of muted. Let me try something. Thank you so much. I won't say the name, but thank you, MC. Greatly appreciated. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Connie Balmer. Connie, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you for being a member and watching Royal Sussex all the way from Switzerland. By the way, Connie Balmer, they had this, I know it was in the mail, but I was doing some research. In the Daily Fail, oh, and I'm not going to say it because I don't want you guys to go look for it. But listen, we're all adults, so I'll just tell you. They had this thing with the silhouette of landmarks, and I got all but three of them. Otherwise, I knew all of them except for three. And one of them was the Matterhorn. That's in your neighborhood, right? The Matterhorn? I think so. But anyway, thank you so much, Connie Balmer, and happy Saturday to you. Okay, let's see. I'm scrolling. See if you guys have anything to say about Miss Leontyne Price. Hello, Irene G. Baron, did you ever get a chance to listen to Samara Joy? I did. I believe you recommended it to me, right? It was that jazz, I think it was. I listened to it, but I didn't like save it or anything, unfortunately. But if you can remind me again, I will make sure that because I realized I enjoyed it, and I was like, okay, this person is really good. But yeah, so that was what I recall. I know I liked whatever it was you had recommended. So, but yeah, I kind of lost track of it. But thank you so much for reminding me. And let me see here. Hi, Nasipo Sapamala. I mean, Sapamla. Thank you so much for being here. Okay. Oh wow, a lot of comments already. I'm still scrolling and scrolling. Uh, Sister wants to say hi. Cynthia Thorpe wants to say hello. And Compton Cali Girl wants to say hello. Very nice of you. And all the rest of the hellos, too. Okay, so I think we're good with this one. All right. I know there's a bit of a delay. All right. And then, of course, um, I want to wish Jennifer Hudson congratulations. Well, I want to say congratulations for her 100th show that happened this week. She's just one of my favorite people. You just have to love her. Such a strong young lady. And what I love about her is that she is so grounded in her faith. I mean, she gives testimony every day that she goes and works and travels and um, maintains a family is the demonstration that faith can carry you through anything. So I'm very happy for her. Just a good person. Uh, okay, okay, all right. I thought I remembered it was jazz, and I know how much I love jazz, so that's why I casually remember it. But I will go back and check it out again. Let me see here. And there you go, Jennifer Hudson, 100th show. I Let me see who was on the show with her. Was it what's that guy married to the girl used to be the model, the singer? Hmm. Oh man, I can't remember his name. But anyway, he was the guest on her show for her 100th. Um, I can't remember that cat's name. I can't remember that cat's name. Let me see here. Oh yeah, if you're having trouble, try refreshing your computer. John Legend, thank you so much. I couldn't remember his name. See, when I started talking about jazz, I started talking like one of those jazz people. I can't remember that cat's name. Y'all know the name of that cat? All right, it was John Legend. All right, very cool. Thank you very much. All right, so um, and no, it wasn't me, but I saw this on Facebook actually. I'm like, you know what? That's a good fit. That is a good fit. The likeness is uncanny. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure whether I'm looking at that person whose name I don't care to say, or is it the original painting? One is just as grisly as the other. But yeah, I think someone really, whoever the artist was, really captured the essence of otherwise a quite annoying person who should not be in Congress at all. But I guess you can't help who gets elected. She is the product of her constituents, and according to her, she has some 700,000 constituents, which is not unusual for a congressional district. But uh, uh, oh well, that's what we're stuck with for a little while. What is it, Margaret something Taylor Green? Um, yeah, something Taylor Green. And well, so how did this start? Apparently, Rihanna decided to take a little artistic license, and I think it said F Trump. So Trump, and I'm sorry she did that because now it gives him a chance to make himself relevant for about 15 minutes. So Trump decided to retort by saying that she was a terrible singer or something like that. Well, you know, Rihanna is scheduled to do the halftime show. So this gives Trump a chance to put himself in the conversation. Marjorie, thank you. Margarine Taylor Green. I call her margarine because she's so sticky and greasy. That's it. Margarine Taylor Green because she's a mess. Okay, okay. Talk about karma. Now, I'm not one of those people who like to go on and on and on about karma, but TK Maxx and HomeSense to close stores. Is your local branch shutting? Well, apparently, the closures of the TK Maxx branch in Scotland and one in HomeSense site in Manchester and the relocation of the Swansea site are set to be completed by the end of March. So, yeah, they're going to close some stores. Now, if you recall, they're the ones who tried to say that they didn't have a once a year sale. See there, TK Maxx, which is TJ Maxx in the US. TK Maxx refutes Prince Harry's spare claim after Royal said he found, that he's fond of of his once a year sale. So, yeah, I tell you what, you keep messing with God's children. And of course, if you keep messing with Diana's child, you're going to find yourself without a chain of stores. Now, of course, I'm only sympathetic to the employees, and I hate that there may be the loss of anyone's position. But, and you know what? I shopped at TK Maxx when I was there, and I didn't notice that it was TK instead of TJ. I had no clue that there was a difference. I guess I kind of looked at it, but I didn't. But then again, you can see, well, you notice how bad my sight is sometimes. So I wasn't paying attention. I saw the colors, I saw the big letters. I just assumed it was. Yes, yes, yes. Mackenzie, that's a good comeback. They should go to H&M. Go work at Harry and Meghan. Oh, not the crap Max with a K, the crap Max. Yeah, go and work at Harry and Meghan's store. That is very cool that that's their initials, H&M. I mean, that just kind of puts you in mind of them all the time, anytime you see one of those stores. I know I do. So, yeah, there's a little karma working overtime. And then right here, tell us, Harry, are you coming to Coronation? Now, um, this is the thing. I thought about this. Harry said that the ball is in their court. So, and I'm thinking, all right, we're wishing and hoping and praying that they don't go. I don't think whether or not they attend is a security issue. As much as security has been a topic, I don't believe security is an issue for the coronation. Security is an issue for the other times, the other places, and other events that Harry is interested in. Um, aside from the coronation, or should I say, besides the coronation, there's other places and other things that he would like to do that would require security. Now, he can surely pay for his own security, and he's offered to pay for his security. And as you guys know, and by the way, Dominique Toussaint, thank you so much for becoming a new member of Royal Sussex, and happy Saturday to you. Dominique Toussaint. See how French I am? I said that right, didn't I? Dominique Toussaint. The NT is silent. Toussaint. All right. No, no, actually, the T is silent. And Elaine Parker, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Happy Saturday to you. And thank you so much for being here. I don't deserve it, but thank you. I know, seriously, thank you. I'm beside myself, and I'm honored. I'm honored. Okay, so yeah, so what was I saying? Oh, okay. I was saying that the security thing was an issue. I'm not worried about them being there for the coronation. The only thing that I think would be an issue is the fact that um, the tabloids have encouraged people to boo them, of course. And then, of course, I mean, we know how it's going to play out. We know how vulgar things are going to become with them trying to establish that they were not welcome. We already know this. And so, that being said, I I would like I would like for them I would like for them to be there if they want to be there. I would like for them to be there if they feel comfortable going. I don't doubt that they will be fine. But I believe Harry's issue may be about the ongoing security that he is willing to pay for on any other occasion besides the um, coronation. And I think that's it where that's concerned. They're not going to have a problem. Um, I want what they want. That's what I want. I want what they want. I don't want to judge them for going. I'm not going to do that, should I say? But if they choose to go and they feel safe and secure to go, they will probably keep a low profile, just like they did for the Jubilee. And you know what, guys, I'm just going to be optimistic. And I know that that's a mistake, but I'm just going to be optimistic. I hope and pray everybody's on their best behavior, not the tabloids, of course. I can't expect anything from them, but with the rest of that family, don't make it so obvious. And I think you know what? As a matter of fact, do make it obvious. Do make your contempt and hostility obvious, because there was the reaction of the world with their bullying during the Queen's funeral. But I believe that they will really make a huge mistake if they try to pull that again at the coronation. I think that will be a huge mistake. So if the family wants to do all that glaring and menacing and stuff like that, especially the one who came to the family penniless, the never a duchess, always a countess, if they want to pull that, they're the ones that are going to look bad. They're going to look really bad. They looked bad the first time and people noticed. But after the docuseries, after the Spare, I just don't I don't see how that works out for anybody, especially for the firm. Sean, yeah, no, I can't take the abuse Meghan is going to endure while she is there. I want it. I want it. I want. Let me see. Hope and pray. Meghan says no. Harry, do not go. Stay and celebrate your son's birthday. Um, yeah, again, if that's what they want, but I just think that if Harry says, and I'm just going by what Harry said, the ball is in their court. So he wants to go. He wants to go. And if he goes, most likely Meghan is going to go. So they may have some negotiation going on behind the scenes, maybe not. And I get it. It's been torturous. Um, every time they go over there, it's like torture, and I get that. It to me, when they go back, it's like those months at the Frogmore Cottage of those vicious attacks from the tabloids, day after day after day. That's what it's like for me. Except for with that, Meghan wasn't actually seen, but on a handful of occasions. But with this, it would be a lot of focus and a lot of scrutiny. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's at play with this obsession about whether they go or whether they stay from the tabloids. Okay. And then, no, all right. This was yesterday. Here we go today. Royal family is fully expecting Harry and Meghan to attend King's coronation and are on edge about the reunion, friends claim. Oh, not an insider, not a palace source, but a friend or friends claim relatives have been spitting feathers. That's interesting. Um, whose feathers? Anyway, that's not clear. Relatives have been spitting feathers about some allegations made by Harry. The family is now bracing themselves for a visit from Montecito relatives. Read more, blah, 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 blah. Well, it could very well be that these headlines, this ongoing dialogue about will they or won't they, um, it may only be a way to draw interest for the coronation itself. Maybe it has very little to do with whether or not they're going. It's just the anticipation of it. I believe that Charles wants them to be there just to make sure that there's an audience. That's all I believe about that. Not that he wants them there, but just to make sure there's an audience. And if he really wants his ascension, his crowning to go well, then they would restrain themselves from pulling the same stunts that they did with the Queen's mourning period and the funeral. I'm sorry. Elaine Parker says, Baron, your friend Stacey Solomon had a baby girl today. Did she? I love her. I love her. What I love about her is that doesn't she just doesn't get it. That's what I love about her. She just doesn't get it. She doesn't get any of it.
Just don't get it. I don't get any of it.
What do you mean? You don't get what?
Yeah. I don't get why we're so obsessed with these humans that are exactly the same. Like, it could be us four sitting there. I just don't get it.
But are you talking about what you mean as royals or as, like, Kim Kardashian? Because for me, they're becoming celebrities.
Well, yeah, to me, that's all they are.
The Queen
is their celebrity.
For me, is brilliant.
I love the Queen.
No, duty, responsibility.
She's always worked really hard.
Well, I would work hard too.
If the whole country paid for me to have like 12 houses and work really hard.
They don't pay for all of the houses, but
just a few.
Okay, Sean, I hear you, and I know you're upset. So, I mean, you make a very valid point. You really do. And I guess I may be a bit, too optimistic about it. And the Sussexes, with all due respect, both of them, Meghan has a very positive attitude about everything and everybody. And so that can sometimes be a bit of a handicap. And then, of course, Harry is kind of absorbed into the sense of duty and family and possibly even the history. So, maybe that is what, I don't know. Let me see. Connie Balmer says, if they go, it may last for a long time. I'm concerned for Meghan, but prayer works. We shall keep praying. Yeah. And just like Election Day, this is a long way out. Not so long, but there's time to iron out things that needs to be ironed out. And who knows? Maybe I don't know. I can't say what they're trying to do or not doing, but I just found it very curious that Harry said the ball is in their court and just left it at that. So that tells me that he intends to go. Let me see. Prince Harry cannot disobey the monarchy. If KC3 says he has to be there, he has to go. He is still a prince of the realm. Yeah, and that sense of duty and obligation is, I hope he knows when to ignore that. I hope he knows when to ignore that. William is going to do everything in his power to make it uncomfortable for Harry and Meghan. He rules the kingdom, not Charles. Yes, I know the friends of William who speak. Not surprised there. Well, I think that Charles doesn't make many decisions without William. And then, too, don't forget, Camilla has a great deal of influence. In spite of everything, with William being the heir, Camilla has been the thing that has driven those two, herself and Charles. I mean, she's been the mastermind of everything related to them since they drove Diana out of the marriage and then eventually to that mysterious death in the tunnel in Paris. She's been behind everything that has happened between the two of them. So I wouldn't put too much stock in what William thinks. I really wouldn't, because she's the one who feeds a lot of information to Charles, and probably a lot of bad information, in my opinion. So I think that she would probably have a lot to say about it, and that Charles would listen. I mean, she's as slick as they come. Church Nelly said that's why Harry and Meghan doesn't need to go. Aren't they tired of being used by that darn family? Good point. Good point. Yeah. I mean, it's exhausting, the whole idea of it, but I just had my thoughts about it, and I'm more than curious with the fact that Harry left it open like that instead of just a flat no. So to me, that means he wants to go. And as for the I'm okay. Maybe I'm reading the wrong thing into this, but with the whole question of them being there and not being there, I don't think the tabloids are being as vicious this time around as they were with the Jubilee. I think with the Jubilee, they were more poisonous. They were so much more nasty with the run up to the Jubilee. This time, it seems to be a small bit of restraint, but not enough, but just a small bit. So I'm sorting it out as I go along, and I may be going in the total wrong direction with what the possibilities are. Hey, Big Mama, happy Saturday. Exactly, Church Nelly. They want them for publicity, but worry they will overshadow them. Then don't invite them. Try to stand on your own 2 feet. Yeah. And then too, squatty to squatty. I can't say what I really think because this is a public forum. But I have some other thoughts about it. And so if it's something that they feel that they need to do, then maybe they have a good reason for it. And that's all I can say about that. If they really think they need to do it, maybe there's a good reason for it. And I don't think it's anything that's so obvious, but something that is deeply personal to the both of them. But I don't believe that they would make a decision, without each other's input, yay or nay, And Fu says, look at how Harry was treated when the Queen died. They left Harry out of their plane, and he had to board a commercial. Actually, no, he got a private flight. I think it was like oh, I don't know, was it 20,000 pounds or something? He paid a lot of money for a plane to take him up there. A lot of money. Now he came back on a commercial flight, but he went up there on a private jet, and it was expensive. It was expensive. That I am pretty sure of. Sean says Harry is trying to change people who don't want to change. They will keep using them. There's always going to be an excuse to go back again and again. You know, Sean, that is true. That is true. One thing that abusers depend upon is your dependency upon them, whether it's financial, a mental dependency, or whatever. Dangling a carrot, the old stick and carrot. But yeah, that is very valid. That is absolutely very valid. And yeah, and there's the William factor, because as we all know and or believe that all of that stuff that happened at Kensington Palace, we have our suspicions about how and why and who made those things happen. So if he's capable of all of that, and I'm not even talking about, you know, the broken dog dish and the bruises and stuff, I'm talking about all of the stuff with plotting against Meghan. Someone in that household, directly or indirectly or whatever, had everything to do with that. And where that left off, then you had Clarence house involved. So between the two houses, they got exactly what they wanted out of the situation. Let me see here. Yeah, very valid. Am I wrong if I don't want this? I want his wife over there. Why the hell would he go knowing they push yeah, that. No, I mean, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And you know what, guys? We have every reason to believe that it's a okie doke and a setup. Every reason to believe that based on the past and the uniform, the whole thing with the uniform, not once, but twice. Once with Philip and then with the Queen. And then with the Queen, they even went so far as to speak about that flipping cipher that nobody would have noticed, that had to have come from inside the house. That for sure was, that one came from, that call was from inside the house. Who would have noticed something like that? Who would have noticed? Let me drink some water. You know, I haven't put my humidifier on in days, and I'm paying the price for it. But yeah, who would have noticed that? I certainly would have. You couldn't even see it on camera. And when they had a close-up photo of it, it was barely, I mean, with the braiding and everything, you just couldn't tell. And I'm convinced that the cipher was back home in California in a drawer somewhere. He probably just didn't bring it with him. He probably thought he would never use it again and took it home. But I tell you what, whether that was his uniform or somebody else's, man, oh man, did Harry wear that uniform? Did he wear that uniform? Let me see. I wish that Meghan does a girl trip on her, or her friends come to stay with them in Frogmore. I would love them giving Baldy and Kate a little stare. I imagine the girls would have the best time at Frogmore. Yeah. You know, guys, though, you all are convincing me. With all of my optimism, you guys are convincing me that it's a bad idea. Whether or not they're interested in going, it is probably a bad idea. So you have made the case to me. Probably a bad idea. Uh, I mean, all you have to do is just sort through everything that has happened thus far. And, they say, what is it? A leopard never changes its spots. I have a feeling that Harry wants his children to be a part of history. Meghan said in the docu series that she's raising her children, trying to understand that they are part of a historical family. Maria, that is so true. That is so true. Yeah. So, I believe Harry wrote the book with the idea that it would actually heal the family, or it would be it would be a tool to help heal this rift. If they could be publicly exposed for some of the things that have gone on behind closed doors. And I'm a firm believer in this. If it was okay for me to suffer in silence, then it should be okay for you to be exposed publicly. If you didn't care enough about me to not hurt me in the dark, then here's your opportunity to explain it in the light. There's healing in that kind of truth, whether it's convenient or not. And that Patty, what was her name? Reagan's daughter. I was going to say Patty Hearst. Whatever her name is, the Reagan girl, talking about her father. That was one of the most evil people that ever lived, the Union Buster. The man who stripped away unions, increased the debt. Do you guys know Reagan spent more money in his 8 years than the government has spent from George Washington to Jimmy Carter? That's how much money he spent. Thank you so much for your comment. Okay, so I'm going to move on. Let me take a look at a couple more. Okay, good point. Harry wants to come back, didn't mention his wife. Let me see. The coronation and for the Queen's funeral are two different things. Oh, I'm sorry. Harry and Meghan planned for the coronation. They were unable to plan. Oh, Joyce Bowles, that is a good point. They didn't have a chance to plan for the funeral, but they do have a chance to plan for the coronation. They were unable to plan for the funeral. Harry and Meghan will make the correct decision. That is a good point, because they were blindsided and a bit dazed by the funeral. Although I'm sure when they were in Dusseldorf that Harry was aware that things were getting close. That's a good point. Boy, you guys make some great points. That is a good point. This is something they can plan for. They are in the throes of negotiation about it. So they got months and months to prepare. Whereas with the funeral, you couldn't pin down a timetable or anything. I mean, everybody knew that, she was getting close, because you guys do realize the Queen hadn't been seen publicly from July until she shook hands with Liz Truss. That was the first and the last time she had been seen since July. So, okay. Yeah, I hear you, Sean. You make a good point. Camilla learned the game from the Queen Mother, who was a pro at bringing down the abdicated king and his wife. Yeah, she did a job on them. As a matter of fact, the Queen Mother, Cookie sat back and watched things happen in her household with backstairs Billy, and didn't care that all of these young people working for the household were taken terrible advantage of, allegedly. So she had no real moral grounds to stand on herself. So that is something that is a factor. If she has have picked up the ways rather of Cookie, which is the nickname for the Queen Mother by, of course, the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. Yeah, if she picked up those ways, then I could imagine. Let me see here. Meghan said the kids need to know their place in this historical family. Sounds like going to the coronation. Charles will issue invite and put it on them to choose. Either way, he looks good. Yeah. Dear old boy. What is it, darling boy? Oh, darling boy. I told you, Charles threw a couple of darling boys in there and he's gold. That's all he has to do, and everybody will forgive him. Adorable says, however, a part of me wants Meghan to go for Kate to die of envy, as everyone will be talking of what Meghan is wearing. That is true. That is true. And I hope Meghan really goes in if she does decide to go. I hope she really goes in on this one. Nothing muted, nothing polite. Sock it to him. A matter of fact, wear green. Hit him with the green again. Let's see. Miss Maxx says, despite what we, the public, think, Charles is still Harry's father, and it's not that easy for everyone to just say, screw my dad. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Charles didn't do bad in the book at all. Charles just came across as very out of touch, ill-prepared and out of touch, which most people don't see as a crime any day of the week. And as a matter of fact, it humanizes him so much that it kind of, well, it did humanize him a bit, way too much. Okay, so Rosa Roberts says, stop that. Unroyal family will never change. Hoping Prince Harry and Princess Meghan stay home. They could be setting a trap for them. Could be. They are. Let me see. I could think of at least two people in that family that are going to do their best anyway. But I don't think they're going to be the ones getting coronated that day. Or should I say crowned that day. Well, Sean, that's a bit extreme. Kidnapping. Yep, that is a bit extreme, but Charles could never face a day in court. The hole in King Charles' socks make me proud to be British. So the Telegraph talk about propaganda, as one of the squatties said, and clearly this is propaganda. The Telegraph is so desperate to humanize Chucky that they wanted to point out how humble and how in touch it is with the common person, that the billionaire king has a hole in his sock. He has a hole in his sock. They were at a mosque, and of course, no shoes. And when he took his shoes off, he had a little hole in his sock. Well, the Queen used to eat out of Tupperware, but it doesn't mean that they are a penny short, or a pence isn't short because of that. I mean, surely when he gets home, he's going to take the sock off and ball it up and throw it in somebody's face and said, sort it. That's what's going to happen. Oh, bonjour. Bonsoir, Charlotte. Happy Saturday to you. Let me see. Don't take the bait. let me see. Those toxic royals may have ulterior motives to get Harry and Meghan in England and use their long tentacles, just like Paris and Diana, God forbid, in the tunnel, and no working cameras at. Well, that's true. That's true. You know, cameras never work when you need to see something. Trying to separate them. If Harry keeps going over there by himself, they will set up something to compromise him. Watch, he needs to wake up. Family is first. Yeah. Well, again, everybody makes some very valid points. Charles wants to look like the benevolent father who has forgiven his son to the public, but behind closed doors, they are still grinding and gnashing of teeth. Good point, Donna Reese. The gnashing of teeth will get you every time. YM Droid says they should send Sam and Tom Markle in their place. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Send those two over there. And who's to say they won't be there anyway as a special guest of fill in the blank? Yeah, Anna Espinoza, prioritize family. Okay. All right. Hey, Mo Shannon, I see you here. Joseph Bernal says, even if Harry attends, they will remind him of his place in many need. Okay, that way. And where he can sit, wear, walk, and the table will make the most of each slight. Yeah. And of course, they're going to have some type of reception or luncheon that they won't be invited to. That's a good point. That's a good point. They are, and that really, that is very nasty. That is very, very nasty that they put so much energy and spend so much time briefing. Because you know what? As optimistic as I'm unfortunately being right now for my own sake, but I'm sorry, for the Sussex's sake, anybody who would make a mockery out of his mother's death to brief against his child, right? Or make a mockery out of his grandmother's death or his mother-in-law's death, you know, pick or choose the royal. But anybody who would make a mockery out of that to wage an attack upon someone else who's grieving and his wife also grieving, that lets you know how awful they are. That right there, at a time when they should have come together, could have come together before Spare came out, and that was the way they conducted themselves: briefing, lying, conspiring. That is what they did for the Queen's funeral. So if they would do that for the Queen's funeral, what are they capable of for a coronation? I'm sure a lot. Yeah, update the website and include your grandchildren's rank. That's what they can do. Update the website and throw the rank in there while you're at it. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. I tell you guys, valid points through and through. I wasn't expecting this much in comments, but I could see it is an emotional issue. Louise Narcisse says, I believe Harry and Meghan should go to the coronation. They are family. God is in charge, and I believe he favors Harry and Meghan. Let us keep the faith, love, and believe in God, trust in God. I'll say amen to that. I will throw a big amen with that one. God is in charge. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So this is the emblem that they're going to use for the coronation. King Charles III, coronation, 6th May 2023, or 6th May, Archie's birthday. They could have actually made a rhyme out of that. 6th May, Archie's birthday. Now, it's time for Prince Andrew to realize that a comeback is never going to happen. I believe Omen Scobie wrote an article about this, or I think it's Omen's column. Didn't get a chance to see the column yet, but that is on the Yahoo. And I hope you guys are clicking on that Yahoo because, Omen has to sing for his supper, and I rather like Omen. So as I say that, and I just pointed out, I didn't see the article myself, but still, I think we should support him. Okay, King Charles evicts Prince Andrew from Buckingham Palace. Well, Andrew I think he had an apartment there, and probably his offices, of course. No longer allowed to have his office. Yeah, so he probably still had an apartment there. He probably was still leading his friends through the place. As you know, the very famous picture of Kevin Spacey and that other person sitting on the throne. So, kick that freeloader out. It's not like you don't have money. Now, today, Beatrice, allegedly, it has been said, wanted to thank Lady, what's her name? Lady Skin and Bones. I forgot her name. She wanted to thank Skin and Bones for speaking up for her father. Well, as you know, Lady Skin and Bones has been all over the talk shows over there in the UK, speaking up and speaking out to support Andrew. And that did not escape Beatrice's notice. As a matter of fact, I don't know what could escape Beatrice's gaze. I think a fallen eyelash about 1,000 paces away could not escape Beatrice's gaze. I'm just saying. So I think it's pretty bad to take advice from Beatrice. I think if Beatrice approves of something, then you should do the opposite thing. Let me point out some of the other errors of judgment that she's had. Like this situation, obviously in error, because I would just leave it alone if I was her. She hasn't been known to have the best judgment. Like, for instance, remember this train wreck interview? Remember whose idea that was? Do you guys remember? They said that it was one of the daughters who told him, hey, why don't you just do an interview? You're so good on camera. Why don't you tell people exactly what happened? And what did he do? He gave the mother of all train wreck interviews. I mean, it was horrific. I nearly felt sorry for him. Well, sources say that it was Beatrice who had the bright idea. It was Beatrice who had the bright idea to go and do this interview. Okay, wait. Jeepers, creepers, where'd you get those peepers? Yes, it was Mrs. Peepers that had the idea to do this interview, the train wreck. And then, of course, she wasn't done yet. So after the train wreck interview, they were trying to make him appear to be more thoughtful. All right. This is the person who has a meltdown if you don't arrange his teddy bears, right? But to try to make him seem more benevolent or thoughtful, they thought, well, why don't we have him do some volunteer work? Now, it just so happens to have been a camera there, and it just so happens he had turned with these bags, these gift bags in his hands, in a box rather, and it was snapped by a camera and shared with the tabloids. How convenient. That was one of her ideas. Of course, everybody saw right through it, and that was also embarrassing. Or what about this one? When Her Majesty, when Grandma goes into church, don't let go of her. Just walk her to her seat. Really? Yeah, just walk her to her seat. Nobody's going to notice. Well, what happened? Do you guys remember the fallout from that? You know, and I like those girls. I think they're very sweet. But I think this was some bad advice. This was some really bad advice. So, and then of course, there she is. Beatrice, 33, watched her father, the Duke of York, accompany the monarch down the aisle at Westminster Abbey, apparently overcome by significance of the moment. Was she overcome by the moment, or was she back there laughing that he actually did it? I mean, was this a bet between the two of them? Now, I'm just exaggerating. I don't know for sure, but it just kind of seems like, I bet you won't. I bet I will. I bet you won't. Oh, yes, I will. Woo! You won't. I will. You won't. I will. And what happens? He walks the queen down the aisle, and the photographer. This is the funny part about this. If you notice that the archbishop robe is in the way, the photographer was told to stay seated or something, but he got up and moved when he saw the queen coming in. If he had not done that, we would not have even seen this. We were not supposed to see that happen, but that photographer snapped a picture of them walking in together. Other than that, I think the cameras, the pool cameras, were actually looking another direction. So, yeah, so the photographer was the one who got that nice snap of them coming up the aisle. And let me tell you something too that was really bad about that. The queen at this point is walking with a stick, and they took her through the side door instead of the main entrance because they didn't want her to take that long walk. He didn't even walk her to the chair. Did you guys see that? When they got to the aisle, he was so satisfied that he had did what he promised he would do that he left her to walk the rest of the way to the seat by herself. I'm just like, you big dummy, you were supposed to take her to a chair. Anyway, the archbishop was supposed to do it, and in the 11th hour, at the last minute, because somebody told him to do it, he decided that he would walk her down the aisle himself. That was unchoreographed, unexpected, unplanned. Okay, Beatrice and Eugenie begged Charles to let shamed Andrew back in from the cold. Future king rebuted pleas of princesses, and the Duke of York to give him a new job. Rebutted. After Jeff, I don't want to say that name because algorithm. Oh man, I'm trying to be careful. But anyway, there we go again. So if it says the princesses, it probably means Beatrice. I'm just saying, I think Beatrice is the one that has been given this bad advice. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Just like this day. Remember that? Why don't we go to that fancy hat shop and get some new fanciers? Now, again, I'm going to just say it was probably Beatrice's idea. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. But given that rather octopus like hat she's wearing, I'm just going to go on my hunch and say that it was her. But look at, they both are very, very unhappy. They should have gone wherever Edwina went, because Edwina has the only scarlet bespoke hat like that in all of the military. Oh, wait, he didn't serve. And then, of course, again, I'm going to question her judgment. If somebody said, had said, look, there goes a royal princess, would you believe them? I'm just saying, if somebody told you that's the queen's granddaughter, where? Over there. Get out. No, it is. I'm telling you. No. Yes. No way. Way. I wouldn't have believed it either, but that's what she wore. Again, her judgment is slightly impaired. I hope she don't watch Royal Sussex. And then, of course, from being around her these last few years, some things about her personality is starting to rub off. There's just something about her personality that is rubbing off. I don't know what it is, but you know how they say once a couple has been together for so long, they start to look alike? I'm starting to believe that. I'm starting to believe that, because he wasn't doing that before they got married. And now she got him doing it too. Oh, man. Okay. So that's all I'm saying, is that there seems to be a bit of issues with judgment. I think that if he really wants to reform his reputation, that he will hire, you hear me? Hire someone as a PR person. Sometimes family is just too close, way too close. Or as you can see in this photo, objects in this image are closer than they appear. Oh, wait, no, that's the side view mirror. Never mind. Okay, now, anyway, that's enough of that messiness. Let's get on to something very sweet. This little kid right here, well, back on the 6th of February, not so long ago, he got a letter from Prince Harry. It says, dear Harry. Well, okay, his name is Harry. That's what threw me just now. But his name is Harry, and Harry Adventures 8 is his handle. Now, he's part of the Whale Child, and he also has raised funds for other things too. They have a family member, I think his younger brother. Is it that stuff that I said was in the water in London? Is that what you're referring to? I'm not going to highlight that, by the way. But if you're no, it's just a very curious nature. It's not anything like that. It's not Studio 54. It's not like that weather in Studio 54. I don't believe that. I don't believe it. Oh, man. Anyway, it's just, well, whatever it is, it obviously runs in the family. You know, some things you pick up from your mom, other things you pick up from your dad, like impaired judgment. Yeah, some things you pick up from your mom, some things you pick up from your dad. So I'm just saying. But I've never heard of official explanations, and I'm sure that it's not that explanation that I couldn't highlight. Well, I tell you what, that hat would have been a big hit at Oktoberfest. What say you? That hat would have been a huge hit at Oktoberfest. That hat would have probably ended up dipped in mustard at the Oktoberfest. So, I'm sorry, that fancier. Let me see. Yeah, that probably would have ended up in a thing of mustard at Oktoberfest. Okay. So you guys, Harry, that's the kid's name, Harry. It says, "Dear Harry, I wanted to send you a big thanks for the thoughtful birthday card and painted rock you sent me following our virtual meeting last year. I hope you are keeping up the good work and send you and your family my best wishes." And that was from Harry, the Duke of Sussex. Now, what must it be like to receive a letter personally signed by the Duke of Sussex? One can only imagine. So that was pretty cool. What a lucky kid. Well, this kid has worked very hard and he deserves all of the celebration and attention that he gets. Let me see. Do I have that video? Let me see if I have it.
Does anyone call you Harry or not?
No, just
Good man. I love that.
that's normal.
Okay, I don't think that's the kid.
It's full of beans today, particularly.
You've got
I
little
love
ones, haven't you? So you'll know what it's like.
I think it's brilliant.
Henry, why don't you show the prince your award? Hold it up and show it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's a different family.
That is a very, very cool award. You know, I was supposed to be the one giving it to you, and I was sadly not able to be there. I'm sorry we didn't get to meet, Henry.
That's all right.
Oh,
Tell you what,
that's
you
all
sound just
right.
like my son Archie. We have
Really?
the same little squeaky voice. I love it.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing? How was the night? How was it? Did you enjoy it? I know the whole thing was changed and it was cut short, but were you able to enjoy it?
Yeah, and we got to meet it was really nice to meet lots of other families and share experiences with them and talk about our journey with Henry and understand their journeys and talk to people who work for the charity and other nurses and stuff. So it was lovely. It was really, really nice. Really good.
Yeah, Henry's quite individual with his how good he is physically, running around. And so just him sitting down, it'd be a different picture if you saw him running around now. So everyone got to experience that at the awards. So I think it was a bit of a showstopper, really. Him and
Yeah. So tell me, are you a naughty Henry or you're a good Henry?
Good idea.
Good. Henry.
You're a good Henry. Would you?
You've just started school, haven't you?
How are you and Lily doing?
How are Archie and Lilybet doing?
They're doing great. How old are you now?
I'm not 5 yet.
You're not 5 yet. When's your birthday?
16th of November.
Almost 15th of November.
15th of November. Wow. So it's literally just over a month away. Are you excited?
When is your birthday?
My birthday's on the 15th of September. Yeah, but yes, in answer to your question, Henry, Archie is very, very busy and Lily is learning to use her voice, which is great.
We know what that's like as well.
You have to, by the way, you have to continue being the brave boy that you are, okay? Not just for your mum and dad, but for your little brother as well.
That's all right. That's all right. I love that. That's all right. All right, Sean, that was a good call. But there was a letter in the past. This is the other letter that the other Harry received. So it says, Dear Harry, I wanted to write to say how wonderful it was to speak to you and your mom last month. And again, how sorry Meghan and I were not to see you at the Well Child Awards as planned. Let's see. We were very much looking forward to meeting you in person and congratulating you on your well-deserved award. Nevertheless, it sounds like you had a great evening, and we are delighted that you've been recognized as the special person you are. You look after your younger brother, Reuben, in such a caring way, then put so much hard work, thought, and effort into raising funds in his name. Your fundraising has helped so many young people, and you should be incredibly proud of everything you have achieved, not least conquering the 3 peaks. Seriously impressive. We know your family will be extremely proud of you, all your hard work too. You are a huge credit to them and to yourself. I was sorry not to meet your dad, but he is doing very important work, and I hope you all get a chance to celebrate your award together. Winning a Well Child Award is a special honor reserved for some of the most inspirational children and young people across the UK. We're so pleased you have been recognized in this way, and we hope it is an achievement you will carry with you throughout life. And remember always, thank you for being an inspiration to us and so many others. Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex. How sweet. How sweet. How sweet is that? And there he is reading his letter from Prince Harry. I mean, it's just absolutely sweet. Oh, you like that video, huh? I'm glad you enjoyed it. Okay, and so then there's this. Amelia E. Noyes. She made, well, I've shared some of her work before. I never actually knew her name, but I shared some of her work before. So she says, since a little tidbit was dropped in Spare by Prince Harry, I was curious and drew this. Well, when she says this, she's speaking of the Queen Mary Bandeau tiara, and of course, the Spencer tiara. So if you guys are interested in her artwork, she actually has a website called Amelia Noyes Design. So it's amelianoyesdesign.com. And I suppose you could request that she makes something custom for you. But this is the type of art that she does. This is her style. Very cool, I think. And right there, you can see side by side the Spencer tiara, which, as we were told, the veil was actually designed for the Spencer tiara. And then somebody thought that the visual of Meghan wearing the Spencer family heirloom was more than they could bear. So they managed to get the Queen involved, and the Queen offered one of the tiaras that hadn't been seen in public probably since Queen Mary died. That is the Queen Mary tiara. very Art Deco. I love it because it's, you know, it's very restrained in its design. However, its elegance and simplicity conceals the fact that it's actually a brooch, and the whole thing comes apart is what I'm trying to say. But the centerpiece right there is a brooch, and then I think you could wear it as a necklace or something like that. But it's okay. I like it. As a matter of fact, I love it. But just for the sake of the tradition of it, I thought it would have been lovely to wear the Spencer tiara, because at this point, I think we're kind of leaning towards Spencer as opposed to Windsor when it comes to relations. Yeah, Lydia says, I wish they took the Spencer tiara, both beautiful, but one was less drama. Wonder what Angela Kelly is doing now. Yeah, AK-47, as they call it, or AK something, AK-47. Angela Kelly. Yeah, what a malicious individual. A dreadful, malicious, conniving individual making all that trouble. And you know, it just goes to show, as I'm sitting up here trying to be optimistic about them going to the coronation, but then you're reminded of things like Angela Kelly felt so empowered and emboldened to step to Harry in the rudest possible way to try to, I mean, okay, allegedly to try to derail the coronation. I'm sorry, the wedding. So you got the thing with Angela Kelly. You have another relative in the U.S. faking an automobile accident, allegedly. You have another relative faking a heart attack, allegedly. You have a handwritten letter at the most inauspicious time written to derail things, allegedly. Then you have the relatives uninvited because one of the other people in the family wasn't invited, and how would that look? And so you got that going on. It was like so many things that were stacked up to try to derail the wedding. And I'm pretty sure, you know, this is the big mistake. By you requesting Meghan to get rid of her social media, by you dictating the last episodes of Suits, you know, there was some input from the palace as to what was acceptable, among other things. You know, they had her sacrifice a lot. And I think that was the idea, was to get her to give up as much of her life as possible and then declare, well, I can't afford to keep both of you, so she's going to have to go back to work. I mean, it was just one thing after the other to try and derail the wedding, to try to frustrate and humiliate Meghan into calling things off or moving the date. And remember, they couldn't, according to Harry, they couldn't even get a date. They couldn't even get a date for the wedding. They did everything they could at the last minute, whenever they could. So the fix was in. The fix was in. From start to finish, the fix was in. But I believe that no matter what anybody was trying to do, this is what I know for sure. Harry and Meghan love each other. They had so many things in their lives in common with their philanthropy and their universal service and such. Everything just seemed like a good fit. They were both ready for a change. 7 years on the television show, you're ready to move on. And let's face it, in her heart, Meghan wanted to do exactly what she's doing right now. That's what was in her heart. Acting was just kind of something to, maintain the platform, to maintain that platform, to bring attention to the causes that was near and dear to her heart. I mean, let's face it, she's been an activist since she was a kid. Protesting the war in Iraq, among other things. She made a name for herself as a kid. And so the idea of joining that institution wasn't the thing she needed to continue the work that she desperately wanted to do, but it was very convenient for both of them to have someone to share in the work, someone that they just happen to love, to share in the work that they love to do. It all makes sense. So I can see what they see in each other. I can see why they love each other so much. And that just bugs people that they fit so well together, because that energy that they put out, it frustrates people who don't have that in their own lives. Harry's not a hater. He thought, well, if Pa is happy and if Camilla gets what she wants, maybe she'll be less dangerous. That was about the worst that he said, was that maybe if she gets what she really wants, maybe she'll be less dangerous. Maybe she won't be so vicious and evil to people. I hope they're both happy. That's all he wanted, was for them to be happy. Nothing else. Their happiness, and leave me alone. Stop messing with me. But then that wasn't enough. They started going after his wife. It wasn't enough that they were targeting him, his wife, and then his child. But they have a great energy together. They fit. They fit perfectly together. And that's why people are always so impressed when they meet them, because they recognize that connection. As Tyler Perry said, if that's what it is, then that's what I want. He said, I don't want anything. If I have something, I want what they have. I want what they have, because that's proper. That's the way it's supposed to be. And that just bothers people, because they don't have that. And they can't compete with that energy. People are eclipsed in that family whenever they're around, not just because of their popularity, but because of the glow, because of the shine, the stardust, if you will. That bothers them. That makes them dangerous to their lackluster, uninspired lives. Nissagate, thank you so much for the super sticker. And thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex. And also, did I see a super chat somewhere? Shelly L says that little girl saw Camilla and said, nope. I see you two in the car. Nope. Oh, man. Nope. That is a very powerful word. Nope. Not today, Satan. Thank you so much, Shelly L, for the super sticker and super chat. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Let me go back and take a look here. Lydia says that the lie that Prince Harry said that Meghan wants what Meghan wants, Meghan gets, came from Angela Kelly. Yeah, no doubt. And I'm so glad that he straightened that out. I'm so glad that he explained what happened leading up to the wedding. And it needed to come from him. It really needed his voice, because Angela Kelly made him a part of it by refusing to bring the tiara. And they say that the courtiers can be a worse snob than the actual family. In so many cases, the courtiers are the worst. They're worse than the family. I agree. It comes with a lot of, but the thing is, the veil with those scallop shapes, the veil was made for the Spencer Tiara. Although I do like the Art Deco style. I think that is, I love Art Deco. And the simple, clean lines out of anything that was offered. And that stupid argument about the tiaras. Oh, she wanted this one. She wanted that one. She wanted the one that Beatrice wore. I couldn't see Meghan wearing that emerald thing. It's too fussy. I mean, if I was shown a collection of tiaras and they said, which one do you think she chose? I would have reached right past even the Spencer tiara and said, the Art Deco, because that looks more her style. Clean lines, smooth, clean lines. That's more her style. And it's too bad that they didn't use that Art Deco, silhouette for the veil. But again, they thought it was going to go a different direction. And then somehow, I don't know why, but they had the Queen intervene. Maybe it was the Queen herself. Maybe the Queen thought she was doing somebody a favor. And it just blew up and backfired in the worst possible way, in the most epic way possible. It's too bad, but it's probably very deliberate that they wanted to taint an otherwise beautiful day with a whole bunch of messiness and nonsense leading up to the wedding. And that was done deliberately. That was her welcome to the family. They don't deserve her. They really did not deserve her. And as much as she didn't deserve what she's gone through with them, but Reverend Al said, you guys remember what Reverend Al said about that day, about how perfect and idyllic everything looked, only for it to turn into something awful. And all the way from the United States, not only himself, but I'm sure many other people saw it exactly for the way it was put out there. I'm going to defer to Reverend Al.
The thing that's extraordinary, though, Sharpton, is that they are our law enforcers. They are the people that are supposed to be keeping us safe. And you're suggesting the only way we can stop them from doing these things.
Uh-oh, that's the wrong one. Here we go.
Left the UK, lots of discussion, Reverend Sharpton, about racism within the media, the accusations that they made towards the coverage that she had faced as part of the royal family. And then you were very outspoken and critical of Jeremy Clarkson's column that he put in again in another national newspaper. He's since apologised to them profusely and tried to explain his scenario. I wonder what your take on that situation was, what Harry and Meghan Markle said that they were facing, and the reaction of the UK media to that relationship.
I think that when they were married, it was a beautiful day.
Right.
And people were celebrating how you saw this woman of color now in the royal family, gospel songs sung at the ceremony, the Queen sitting there. And then the reaction was so much acrimony and just looking to treat her differently. And people, whether you're in the UK or around the world, that was always treated differently, understood what Meghan was going through. It was somebody Black working in the C-suites for the first time, and they treat you differently. Or someone walking down the street. And I think she became a symbol not of her own making. When you see the kind of mean-spirited article this guy wrote for no reason, drag her through the streets and all, yeah, fine, you can apologize, and many of us have said things not at that level that we could apologize for, but what makes you feel that you can say that in the first place?
Right.
And I think that in many ways, they exposed what was already there, and then people tried to blame Meghan for they are being exposed.
That's it, and that's all. They tried to blame Meghan because it exposed how rotten they really are. That's why they're so upset, because it exposed the rot that was there all along. And they tried to blame her because they couldn't contain the hatred and the hostility, especially William. Especially William. William is a particular case because he doesn't even try to hide it. He is notorious for his outburst. So why is it not a surprise, as Meghan say, I'm not surprised. Why is it that it was not a surprise that at the Sandringham summit, that in front of his elderly, sickly grandmother, in front of his confused and dim-witted daddy, I like that, he couldn't contain himself. In front of the courtiers, he was incandescent with rage again. He couldn't even contain himself to get through that meeting. The fix was in from the start, that's for sure, but he could not contain himself because he was so agitated that Harry would dare choose his own path, something that did not involve kissing his behind. They took an otherwise beautiful situation, a beautiful wedding, a beautiful life of service within that institution, and turned it into something ugly. So guess what? They're still together. They're still doing service, but they're just not doing it from within the institution. And it's embarrassing to them because, if nothing else, Meghan demonstrated it's really not rocket science. You just get in there and do the work. And if you want to be effective, you actually work. Not just do the work, but work. Come up with some ideas, problem solve. Send some emails at 5 a.m. Do something instead of showing up and arranging canned goods. Anybody could show up and arrange canned goods. And did you let's lean in on this one. Kate was not the least bit curious as to what was going on at the food bank. She said, I'm just here to observe or to learn or whatever. But she didn't want to know nothing. She wasn't there to learn anything. How much do you pick up in 55 minutes packing a trolley full of canned goods and reminding people that you're just there for a photo op? How much did you pick up? You certainly didn't bring anything. How about if you had brought some stuff and then watched them distribute it instead of taking what they have and rearranging it and then waving goodbye and not even looking anybody in the eye on the way out the door? How about that? Pitiful. So there you go, a side-by-side, Princess Diana with the Spencer tiara and Meghan with the Queen Mary bandeau tiara. Kate Middleton, come on down. You are the next contestant on The Price is Right. How much do you think that new powerboat is? Maybe what? Maybe. I'm just maybe that's wrong. Oh man. So I have this for you. This is the Raymond Schuyler and his children, Ethel, Stephen, Beatrice, Dorothea, and they're in Worcester. I'm sorry, am I saying it wrong? Worcester, Massachusetts, 1904. Look at that elegant African American family. Someone posted this on the social media. Just one of those little images. Now, if you're wondering who this guy is and his family, Raymond Schuyler was born in 1864 and moved from Troy, New York to Worcester. I feel like I'm saying that wrong. Worcester in 1887 to work in the Worcester Wire Works. He later worked for the Boston and Maine Railroad as a janitor, clerk, and gate tender. An active member of the community and leader of several organizations, Schuyler belonged to the fraternal organization, the Knights of Pythias, I've never heard of that one before, and the Masons, I've heard of that one, which emphasize mutual support and community building. He was also a member of the NAACP, a civil rights organization, and All Saints Episcopal Church. He married Rose M. Bates, a native of Vergennes, Vermont. And in 1893, and they all parented. I mean, they parented 10 children. Good Lord. They lived in John Street neighborhood, in the John Street neighborhood. 10 children? Good golly, Miss Molly. So what you see in the photo is just a portion of the kids that they had. Well, anyway, what a sweet photo. 1904. Don't you love that? That is beautiful. Aww. And look at the little baby in the pram, the stroller or whatever. Well, it just goes to show. Now, see, stuff like this is what leads to Black Wall Street and Rosewood, a prosperous Black family living too well. I mean, you could just see the pride in his eyes. Let me see here. Oh, really? You used to work there? It's pronounced Worcester, Massachusetts. Okay, thank you so much for that. Worcester, Massachusetts. Let me see. Oh, the baby looks like a doll. Cute. Yeah. They had big families back then. That is true. That is very true. Thank you, Sean. Okay, that's for Church Nelly. Yeah, and back in those days, let's face it, the mortality rate for children up until age 5 was almost 50-50 sometimes. Yeah, it is a nice vintage photo, isn't it? Yeah, I thought it'd be nice to share. Yeah, Baron, that was before birth control. I remember when Catholic families went from 4 or more kids down to 2 in a generation. Yeah. Yep. Well, have you ever had a chance to read Queen Victoria's autopsy report? When the doctors looked her over, I'll just leave it at that. But in reference to what you're saying there, that was one of the things that they noticed. And I think she had, 9 children? Oh, 10. Okay. Yeah. That is amazing, though. That's a lot of cheering. That is a lot of children. Let me see here. Massachusetts residents with that Irish accent. Patty for party. I travel there once a year for my job. Their accent is like my Jamaican accent. Yeah, they do have a very thick accent. They really do. And being, from the Midwest, I still remember when this girl in high school had came from Massachusetts, and everybody used to make fun of the way she talked. She sounded very Archie Bunker. She sounded very Archie Bunker. Let me see here. Okay, let me go on. So, yay or nay? Yay or nay? Now, this seems to be the hottest fashion item out there these days. The MSCHF boot. It gives you that cartoon foot. If you've ever wanted to look like a cartoon, this is what you need. Now, apparently, there's a viral video where someone was trying to take one of these things off, and they found it difficult because of the design, difficult to walk in it, and difficult to take it off. But they say they're actually very comfortable. I'm guessing that it's just a lot of foam rubber. But when you take these things out brand new, does the owner get a headache? Plunger? Did you say plunger? Well, in tornado season, this may be exactly what you need. Or perhaps during the hurricane season, this may be a good look for you. They're fun. They're fun. I mean, they have no practical purpose. Oh, really? Camilla the Liar is on GB News. Let me see. Oh, some new hoof covers, huh? To cover those hooves. All right. As I told you guys, didn't I tell you that Prince Philip is the real Duke of Hazzard? Didn't I tell you that? Well, now I have photographic evidence that Philip is the original, the OG Duke of Hazzard. There. Now this is a Royal Sussex exclusive, but Prince Philip, aka Duke of Hazzard. So when he went airborne at that intersection and knocked that woman's car off the road and broke her arm, not her arm, but her arm. You know how some old black people be like, her arm, broke her arm. Yeah, so when his car became airborne and he broke her arm, it was because he had been doing some of that stunt driving. They said he was actually an advisor for the television series. And so as such, I managed to find an image of him in the old General Lee flying around a racetrack. So that is... if you say so, Church Nelly, I can't be a party to any such accusations of where his whereabouts have been, but I'm just saying that is oh man. You know what? I just saw that actually. Where is it? I just seen that somewhere. You're talking about the one where, oh man, where is that? But I love the way that that lady was on television giving them the what for. for breaking her arm. There you go. Yeah, this is me. When Lauren was on the show the other day, that was me right there. I went and crawled back up on the couch and took me a little nap. You love that, right? That is funny. This was going around during the pandemic when their kids had to do their classes at home. And when I saw this, I think I just let out a scream. I thought that was so funny. I thought that was so funny. That is how you do a Zoom class. You go get the wig head and some sunglasses and a face mask and go crawl back up on the couch and go to sleep. You just want to get off up on that couch and pass out. And that is how you do a Zoom class. They won't know the difference. Oh man. Well, but yeah, so that was the real Duke of Hazzard. This is how you break your neighbor's arm. If you want to break your neighbor's arm, you hop into General Lee and go zipping through that intersection without any regards as to any oncoming traffic or whatever. You don't bother with that. You just go airborne at the intersection and let the back wheels of your car clip the lady at the intersection. The hard part is getting out of the car because, as you know, he was upside down in the car when they took him out of there. You know he was cussing him out, right? Take your bloody hands off of me, you stupid. I mean, could you imagine Prince Philip cussing them people out, the ambulance workers or whatever? You know he cussed them out. And Lord, I hope wasn't none of them black that showed up. The last thing that we would need is for somebody black to come and pull him out that car. I could only imagine what he would have said. You don't even have to know what he said. It's more amusing to imagine what he may have said when they reached in that car to pull him out. Oh man. Could you just take me out the effing car? Oh, well. So with that, you guys, I am done. This was like the last thing I did before I came on. I was just like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, you need that for a meeting? Well, I mean, it's not hard. You just have to. Oh, wow. My computer is getting a little glitchy. Yeah, for you content creators, as a reminder, I was told by one of those people with the, what is that, the Think Media? No, it was another channel, but it was about the StreamYard, and I didn't do that today. I've been taking my chances lately, but I know, what is it, Ponsate? They had some problems with their audio. It is always best to prep your show and then restart the computer, and that should eliminate all the glitches. So sometimes when you would hear like either myself or perhaps Anne with that underwater sound is because well, I'm not saying it's 100%, but that's one way to deal with it is to restart your computer, and quite possibly it will resolve the issue before it even starts. So it gets glitchy. It's a good program, but it does get glitchy, and you just need to restart it to eliminate that. So, All right, you guys, thank you so much. Thank you for your generous Cash App and super chats and super stickers. I think tonight is what, the Brit Awards or something? I think I saw some red carpet action. So you got that to look forward to. Let me see. Yeah, so that's that. But anyway, it was good hanging out with you guys. I really appreciate you all being here. Happy Saturday to you. Misty Blue had a movie early this morning, so if you guys can get over to Misty Blue, you can watch her video. She made some very interesting points. I can see Sam Smith just don't care no more. He's just wearing anything. I'm going to tell you guys, I didn't too much care for his singing in the first place. That song he had, what was that one? Take Me Home or whatever it was. To me, it was just like he said a few sentimental words, and then all of a sudden he was drowned out by the black choir and the loud music, and that was supposed to be a great song. It was like a few little sentimental words, and then he was drowned out by the black singers and the loud music. I hated that song. Oh, I thought it was awful. I could not understand why everybody was so crazy about it. That one just threw me. That one song that was supposed to carry him, what was the name of that song? Whatever it was, you know which one I'm talking about. It was the one with the black choir, and they got, it's like, and then all of a sudden the music got loud and the choir was shouting, and that's what made the song. It was very sentimental, don't get me wrong. It was a very sentimental song, but he's a terrible, terrible singer. Terrible. And now that he's doing these live performances and stuff, yeah, stay with me. Real sentimental and everything. Awful, awful, awful singer. Awful. Awful. The worst. Oh, Joy and Moore, you're at work right now? Is that what you're saying? Got to go to work? Oh no, I hope not. I hope not. I hope you have a good day at work. But yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. Stay with me. Awful. I'm just like, and so, okay, listen, and I'm not making this up. I'm telling the truth. I had never heard the song all the way through because I thought it was awful. So one day I said, I'm going to watch this video and I'm going to be very optimistic and open-minded, right? And so I'm sitting there, and about halfway, not even halfway, about 1/3 of the way through it, my hand started feeling around to my side trying to grab that remote. And I said, nope, you promised you would watch it. And so when it was over with, I sat there stunned at how terrible it was. Now, there was one description that I heard from someone who said that it sounded like it was an act of violence upon a particular sector of the population. I won't say what type of violence or what sector of the population. I won't describe it. But when he said that, I'm like, yes, that's what it sounds like. So I thought it was one of the worst songs ever. I thought it was overhyped. It was very sentimental, stay with me and all that kind of stuff. and he looked just as pitiful as the song sounds. So I'm not surprised that the song was able to get some traction. But I thought it was a terrible song. Well, actually, the band was good. The backup singers were good. The only thing that was messed up is him. It was him. And now he's going into all of this demonic looking stuff because that's all he has. That's all he has. I mean, God bless him for rising to the top and being in the spaces with the people that he managed to be there with. That is a huge success. But much like a member of Congress, I think what's his name said it best, Mitt Romney. You ain't supposed to be here. Really, really. That is a scathing critique of his talent, but I thought it was awful. Awful. I just couldn't believe the hype. I could not believe the hype. There are so many other people that I would rather hear than to listen to him. That god awful falsetto, it was just bad. He couldn't carry a tune in a bucket. Yeah. Yeah, that's what, I'm not saying he's a liar, Church Nelly. I'm just saying that he's in spaces that I don't think he deserves to be in. But you know what? Yes, you do, because you don't really have to sing to make it. That's never been a thing. But I just thought it was a terrible song. I thought he sounded terrible. And, a few sentimental words, and then cue the choir, right? Now, if you don't believe me, go back and listen to it again, and you will see what was there the whole time. Now, Ed Sheeran, I can understand the hype with Ed Sheeran. The very first time I heard Ed Sheeran, I was hooked. The very first time I heard Ed Sheeran, I was hooked. But the very first time I heard Sam Smith, I hurled. Now, there's a difference between being hooked and hurling. Being hooked or losing your cookies. Sam Smith has a great voice. I said what I said. Yeah, so does Yosemite Sam. No, that's not Yosemite Sam. That's Foghorn Leghorn. Either way, it was awful, just dreadful. As Betty Davis would say, it was terrible. It was terrible. I just couldn't take it. I was just like, why is this punk getting all of this attention? And so now that dog doesn't hunt anymore, he has resorted into wearing bustiers, pasties. He has resorted to wearing, it looked like he's wearing some bin liners, some garbage bags for the award show. I mean, he's just a mess. He is just a mess. A big mess. He's wearing something that looked like that balloon going over Montana. That's what he's wearing. He's imitating the Montana balloon. Yeah. Lydia wants to share that video. Oh, I accidentally clicked on it. Hold on. I'm going to put it there. Give me a second. And the video is beautiful. The only thing that's not beautiful is his singing. There we go. So if you guys want to see it for yourselves, there is the link for it. Thank you for the super chat. I said what I said, Shelly L. And Legs says, anyone noticed they give an Oscar for a Bond song? Sam Smith was horrible live during the Oscars and won. Who's on the committee? UK courtiers? There you go. There you go. Even with the auto tune, he sounds terrible. Even with the auto tune. Now, listen, I get it. I get it. The song was very touching and very sentimental. The problem is his singing. All of that was interrupted by his singing. All of that was interrupted by his singing. You take some beautiful lyrics, you take a wonderful music video. And of course, you know they always got to have black folks singing. And with all of those ingredients, then that thing opened up his mouth. That thing opened up his mouth and started doing what he does. And it was awful. Auto-tune, editing, none of it saved it. Fluid. Let me see. Lorna Williams says, Baron, Sam Smith has declared himself gender fluid. He is trying to find his place. I have two of his earlier albums. They're okay. They're okay. But I don't like his this new stuff. Oh, you mean where he's in the Devil's Playpen? I'm sure you don't. Yeah, the albums I'm sure are okay, you know. But he's trying to become like a Boy George type of person now, which is okay. But I'm gonna tell you guys, I have both of Culture Club's first albums, and I thought they were wonderful. Especially the fat girl that was singing with them, Boy George, Culture Club. Remember the fat girl? I don't know what her name is, but she, I think she had joined them on the second album. No, actually, she was on both of them. But yeah, she's good. Coming live from Mediocre Avenue, no doubt. I think he's dreadful. I think he's absolutely dreadful. Just the worst. What's that? I don't think that he has a bad voice on the radio, but I don't like his live singing. They have to check the acoustics. Yeah, they check the acoustics. They need to check him. I do agree that he is trying to come into his own. I hope he. Let me see. I hope he does it. Has it? Does it? Legs. Listen. That dog just ain't gonna hunt, or in other words, that man just ain't gonna sing. Anybody will sound good in the studio, but I'm telling you, he came along at the right time with the right lyrics. And if I recall, there was a lawsuit from that first that Stay With Me song because it was lifted from somebody else's music. Clever. I'm going to give him credit for being where he is, but he's in some spaces that he just don't belong in. He's in some spaces that are much bigger than him, way bigger than him. But, don't hate the hustle. That's what they say. Don't hate the hustle. So good luck with the bustiers, the pasties, the bin liners, and all that other crap he's wearing. He's going to need it. It was a beautiful song, Joanne Baker says. Yeah, it's a beautiful song. It's just too bad they didn't get a singer to sing it. That's the problem. It's a nice song. They should have got a singer. I think a song as beautiful as that deserves a singer. Oh, Ed Sheeran is wonderful. He is. I love Ed Sheeran. The first time I heard Ed Sheeran, I said, "Ooh," I had to write the song down, and then I bought it for my Apple. What is it? iTunes. I immediately bought it for my iTunes. I didn't try to pirate or anything. I just bought it because I loved it. Let me see. Oh, you talking about the all of that demonic stuff he was doing? Yeah. Yeah, he's it works. Shocking people works. I know this one pig that shocked his way into the White House. Let me see here. Let me see. George Michaels was really good. Yeah, Gwendolyn Daniels. George Michaels was great. Great. And George Michaels really worked hard at what he was doing. He really worked hard, and it paid off. Let me see here. Oh man, let me see. George Michaels. Yep, George Michaels. Let me see here. Well, I'm telling you guys, those first two albums from Culture Club were wonderful. Kissing to Be Clever, and what was the other one? Was it Time, the Clock of the Heart, and Kissing to Be Clever? Oh man, no, Kissing to Be Clever was the first one, right? But it was some good music on there. It's kind of like a jazz and reggae and soul all together. And did you guys know that George Michaels actually, I'm sorry, not George Michaels, Boy George wrote a lot of those songs himself. Actually, I think he wrote most of them. And when he wrote Time, the Clock of the Heart, he said that he was inspired by Midnight Train to Georgia. Yeah. And I tell you, Mo Shannon, you know that back in the day, there was only a handful of people who could feather that hair. George Michaels, Princess Diana, Aretha Franklin. People forget Aretha used to feather that hair. Aretha had a mad feather. I mean, Aretha used to feather that hair. And I think for a time, Oprah Winfrey did some feathering with her hair. Oh, he did, didn't he? He sure did. He sure did. He started drinking that royalist Kool-Aid. I wonder why they all go out of their way to do that. I wonder why they do that, especially having grown up with Harry, as part of the royal family. Are you that much of a royalist that you could literally turn it on and off at whim? I wonder why they do that. Like Judi Dench, I always thought she was so good, and now I can't be bothered. Joan Collins, the poor man's Liz Taylor, as they used to call her. The poor man's Liz Taylor. Let me see. They're begging for an award from the British royal family. Oh, okay. So when they start talking, okay, I get it. They're trying to prove their worth. Yeah, I don't remember what he said, but I do kind of remember that. Was it one of those survival shows? Yeah, when they get dragged and all of a sudden they shut up. Yeah, because they make money from over here. They make money from over here. And I tell you what, whatever people say about the millennials, one of the things that the millennials is good for is policing some of these divas out there. Oh, when the millennials take to them keyboards, that will make or break a career. Joanne Baker says, Baron, some people take offense because they feel you are attacking their British culture if you attack the royals. But I feel the same way when they attack Joe Biden. I don't like them attacking Joe Biden, but every day the tabloids attack the person I voted for. Now, mind you, I haven't lived with Joe Biden as part of my consciousness my whole life, but they don't seem to feel any hesitation about attacking him. I mean, it has not escaped my notice that the Star, the Inquirer, they mostly had staff from Britain, right? And then you got, thanks to streaming, you got the Daily Mail, and then, of course, Murdoch being Australian, Commonwealth, owning so much of the media in the U.S., including Fox News, which has changed the entire landscape. So I can understand that they would feel offended by that because it is part of their culture. But I show, deference to the president, usually whoever they are. Like, for instance, the other week, and I was saying that, I'm surprised that they criticized Charles for taking helicopter trips, but I don't think they should because he's a head of state. And where the head of state is concerned, I don't care who it is, including Donald Trump. If you're the head of state, that comes with the job. Burning fossil fuels, flying all over the world, big motorcades, all that stuff, that comes with the job. I don't discriminate. So where that's concerned, I would defend any of them. Now, when the Queen was still alive and Charles was the heir, I thought it was kind of ridiculous for William to have an 8 million pound helicopter. But yeah, I can understand why that's offensive because that is part of the culture. But as there is a woman of African American descent who has literally had her life threatened, her existence threatened by that family, I think I'm being very polite. I think I'm being very polite where that's concerned. I am showing great restraint when I talk about that family because at the end of the day, Meghan is an African American. Her mother's an African American. And I have seen a huge sector of a population not just turn against her, but literally hate her. And they even turned against one of the members of the royal family. So I don't want to offend anybody, and I try to be very careful to differentiate the difference between the royal family, the royalists, the Brexiteers, and of course, the tabloid people. I try to point out the differences. And of course, as I said, when I went to the UK on a few occasions, starting back in 2007, I was treated with the utmost politeness and respect, even when someone seemed to not believe I belonged in the first class section of the train. I didn't let that deter me. I had a good time. And I don't have any stories to tell about being mistreated or, overt racism. None whatsoever. But the other thing is just that I want to say that I have spent somewhere north of, and when I say somewhere north, I mean somewhere north. Over time, I have probably spent somewhere between $10,000 to $20,000 visiting the United Kingdom, eating the food, buying souvenirs, paying my way into certain, trips and excursions and country houses. So I'm not saying that makes me uniquely qualified to speak my mind, and you know what? If it wasn't for Meghan, I wouldn't have as much to say. I wouldn't have as much to say. So, whatever offense that some of the royalists may feel, I'm not prepared to apologize for it or even say I have any regrets for it, because every time I look at any of the news from over there, it always seems to have like this very dog whistle racist content to it. Even the BBC, which surprises me because I used to hold BBC to a certain standard, right in league with CNN, which I can no longer trust. So yeah, that's how I feel about it. So if there are any hate listeners, like the one who was in the comment the other week there who said, "You're not even British. You sound like you're an African American. You shouldn't be speaking about these things." Well, I feel the same way. I really do. I feel the same way. But yeah, I'm glad that you shared that, because I guess this is something that needed to be said. But yeah, Ricky Gervais. There you go. I mean, I would say that a lot of Americans, nothing to do with the Sussexes, nothing to do with the royal family, but it's a reason why a lot of American movies seem to depict the very posh Brits as being obnoxious. And then, of course, when I see the way Meghan has been treated, I'm just like, well, I mean, there seems to be something there. But I don't ever assume, and I've said this too many times to count, that what we see is a small sector of the population. It certainly doesn't speak for the broader population. And trust me when I tell you this, as someone who has majored in geography as well as sociology, I understand the difference. I would never hold an entire population, not even Ukraine, with the way they treated the Black people there. I would never assume that those minority of people that are ignorant actually speak for a population as a whole. Now, it bothers me that some very reasonable minded people seem to look the other way and allow the abuse or disinformation to go on. But again, I never assume that those people speak for most of the population. So that is how I feel about that. I just don't have it in me to make that type of assumption. And of course, it is painful and hurtful to hear criticism about one's home or homeland. But I feel the same way because you guys know I like Joe Biden. I love Joe Biden. Joe Biden was the antidote to Satan in the White House. And for that reason, I feel a certain amount of pain and humiliation every time I see anything about him in a foreign newspaper. I say to myself, what gives them the right? What gives them the right? And so, anyway, I'm going to share this with you guys, especially any of the deranged hate listeners that are just about sick of me. This is why I know that most people in Britain are just like people in the US. They just want to work and love and care for their families and enjoy the finer things in life. They don't give a toss about the royal family from day to day. It's a ceremonial thing that doesn't really affect most people's days. And an African American woman who was paid by the British tabloid media and or trolls to go to the UK to bash the Duchess of Sussex, allegedly paid, allegedly to bash the Duchess of Sussex. She goes to the UK and she just happens, they say, to come across a producer of the Dan Wooten show, and they began to bash the Duchess of Sussex, but they were only interrupted because two women, two females that appear to be British women that also seem to have been white women, were not having it. They gave these two the what for. So just to warn you, the video was heavily edited, so it's not a direct, continuous conversation. However, the First Lady that spoke, I have highlighted her text in royal blue, and the other woman is in a bright red. And so those were the only words that were highlighted, since they were not speaking into a microphone, but the other two were actually recording their session that they just, quote unquote, happened to meet each other on the train. They were recording this so-called surprise meeting, allegedly surprise meeting, on the train with one another. And so these two ladies overheard the conversation and they were having none of it. So it may be difficult to follow. You may want to watch it twice, but here goes.
Well, what about the accusations about the Brits being racist? What did you think about Meghan making that accusation?
That's not absolute nonsense. We described her and the marriage as magical, described her as beautiful. We celebrated the diversity.
I think she wanted to leave from the very beginning.
Well, if you look at her history of sort of social climbing and whatever else, yeah, it would make sense to me.
You should really think about some of the language that you're using. Social climbing.
Sorry.
I found your language.
Then you can leave, lady.
Can I?
I'm not leaving.
Can I?
I'm not leaving. I'm just letting you know.
Don't come over here telling me what I need to do, because you're offended.
I'm not telling you what you need to do.
Yes, you just told me what I need to do.
I'm sitting here.
I need to watch my language, is what you said.
She's dealing with centuries.
Look, man, we're
of arcane.
Well, she should have never married into the family.
Why can't she?
Look at this Sun front page from the day she was married. History. Harry and Meg's historic change for monarchy. Get that on camera. The Daily Mail showbiz editor.
Successful woman.
Nothing to do with her being African.
Of any colour. Any woman.
What's me calling her a social climb got her to do with her race?
Pejorative, it's a really nasty.
What are you talking about?
It's like coming across as a victim.
Yes.
Seriously?
You see people as victims. You're a victim of our language. You're getting offended for people having a conversation.
Victim of tabloid language. I think people are a victim. You're right there.
You would say that because you're a victim in chief.
So, as I said, I don't see most Brits feel that way. I just don't. I find it unfortunate that people consume that type of news and take it as the gospel. Still, not most people. From the numbers that we see, those tabloids are in a state of decline, even online. But the problem is when you have an African American woman, a woman of color, biracial woman, woman of African descent being mistreated like that, I don't I don't feel good about that. And so if the source of that pain is the royal family, my sarcasm and my wit is my way of dealing with it. And anybody else that finds that comforting, to have a laugh at their expense, are invited to ride along. But if not, then there are other channels, which is what I say all the time. I'm an acquired taste, I'm sure, but there's other people that that you can gravitate toward if it proves to be too much. But yeah, so that's how I feel about it. But yeah, it's unfortunate that what we saw at Philip's funeral, at the Queen's funeral, at the Jubilee, for a lot of Americans and young Americans, that is the face of Britain. That is the face of Britain. And this is the face of Americans responding to the face of Britain. This is something that they asked for. There was two things that could have happened when Meghan married into that family. They could have taken her under their wings, and could have treated her with respect. They could have taken all of that energy she had and put it to work for the sake of the Commonwealth, for the Queen. But instead, they wanted to change her. They wanted to make her less than. They wanted her to be 50%. Even out of sight for months, they can't stop talking about her. Whether it was over there or over here, she's in every conversation. So I don't know if that was helpful, but that's how I feel about it. But yeah, so yeah, the African American woman that you heard on the train, that is a Meghan hater channel. The only thing that makes that channel successful is the fact that is one of those Black people that tells racist people what they want to hear. That is what makes it successful. So, but I don't, and I never have believed that nastiness that I see on television, in the tabloids, or any place else. I never believed that was really speaking for the majority of the people. But as for the royal family, I have been to more of those places in Britain connected to that family than most British people have. I'm just going to tell you, I have. Most British people will live a lifetime and not see as much of that island as I have. And it just goes to show, me being the Anglophile that I am, not a royalist, but an Anglophile, me being the Anglophile that I am, who have enjoyed so much of the BBC and all of the television shows. Just the other day, I started watching To Sir With Love again. Me feeling the way I do about that institution was something that I never thought would happen. I never thought that would happen. But you know what changed? I'm going to tell you what changed. This is what changed me, because at the end of the day, my people come from the same place our people come from, black and white. But the part that seems to cause problems for people is the black part. That's the part that people can't seem to respect or even give any type of consideration to. Because of that, there's something deficient about my existence, her existence, according to that institution and a lot of people that support it. So if that's the case, if you don't respect her, then you don't respect me. I could see if she'd actually done something, but all she did is show up. All she did was show up. Show up, and like so many people of African descent, you show up and instantly you find out that you have to work harder, run faster, jump higher, and argue the best case. Whether you're a doctor, a lawyer, a politician, butcher, baker, candlestick maker, whatever it is you do, garbage collector, whatever it is you do, you always have to be the best. And then you find out that when that's all said and done, they will still dismiss you because you're just not something else. You're not an English rose. I've spent the money, I've learned the history, and I've been from Cardiff to Brighton. I've been from Brighton to York, from York to Glasgow, all over the place. I've seen plenty. I haven't lived there, but I've seen plenty and spent a lot, learned a lot. I never thought I would regret that, and I don't regret it, but sometimes it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I have a video of me, or not of me, but me, a video of the Queen that I recorded. I was about 20 feet away from the Queen, recording a video, cheering with everybody else. Okay? I hate that this happened. I really hate that this happened, but it did happen. I hate that we're at this point, but we are. I don't blame Meghan for it. I blame that institution. So that relationship is over. As far as I'm concerned, there's no need for a royal family. There's no place for it in the modern world. I've hurt for Meghan, cried for Meghan, and talked about her a lot. Long before this channel. People couldn't understand. Why do you care? Because of the principle of it. That's why I care. Because of the principle. So with that, if you have any final thoughts or closing words for today. I live in a state where the minority hated are natives. They don't have a voice. Nobody stands up for them. They just have to take it. Yeah. Yep. I love when, what was the girl's name from Desperate Housewives? The Mexican-American actress. She said, we didn't cross the border crossed us. I love that. We didn't cross the border crossed us. me see here. Baron, she did not just show up. She showed up with intelligence, beauty, self-made, and biracial woman who is self-made multimillionaire. Princess Meghan knows who she is, and what is that? And where she is? Let me see. Thank you for your comment. Shelly L says, yes, I felt like Kate is an abusive relationship from William and the institution. They broke her, and they almost broke Meghan. Yeah. Yeah, they literally bred all of the personality out of Kate. And they have turned Kate into a rather dull foot soldier for the institution. And that's why she has the twitch and the tics and carries the purse in front of her. That's why she does that, because of her insecurity. That's exactly why. That's why she looks so withered, because she's been through it. But I can't feel sorry for her, because if you've experienced something like that, how dare you not stand up or help or even sympathize to some degree with somebody else going through it, even if you're afraid to speak up. There was more she could have done. Those text messages and stuff, that was no accident. That was deliberate. That was deliberate. Yeah. Thank you, Shelly L. But yeah, that was deliberate. She knew exactly what side of herself she wanted to show. Even at the funeral. Even at the funeral. As a matter of fact, at the funeral, she really showed out. She didn't just show up. She didn't just show herself, but she showed out. Rosalind says, I knew there was racism in the UK, but I wasn't aware how blatant it is. Say it again. Say it again. I'm still shocked. I am still shocked by how blatant it is. Even many of the people of color are not aware of how badly they are treated. Exactly. I'm surprised. I'm just surprised. I mean, I've been there, right? I've been there. And I mean, I walk into a store and it's stuff, you know, they're very respectful and everything. Fine. But collectively, as a society, the only ones that seem to really get it are the young people, and the occasional intellectual will speak their mind. Those ladies on the train, they spoke their minds. So, yeah, the gloves are off. The blinders are off. That which I ignored cannot be ignored anymore. Low-key mean girl, especially how Harry described her. Yeah, and I think Harry was kind of caught off guard by Kate. I think Harry was caught off guard with Kate because he was never in a position where he was able to see that. Now, I wonder if it was always there, but she downplayed it with Beatrice and Eugenie, who didn't seem to have a use for her. And likewise, it don't look like she ever got along with Beatrice and Eugenie. So maybe Harry just didn't notice. But Harry didn't notice a lot of things until he started seeing the way they reacted to Meghan. It took Meghan to open up his eyes. Like when he used that one word with the soldier from, was it Pakistan? His family is from Pakistan, but he was born in Britain. When he used that one, disrespectful, derogatory term, I could believe he didn't know that that was a bad word. I could believe that, because I'm always like, do I say Hispanic? Do I not say Hispanic? Do I say Jewish or do I say Jew? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's wrong. And so I hear a Jewish person say something, or sometimes I'll hear a Hispanic person, or as I'm more comfortable saying Latino, but I hear a Latino person refer to someone as Hispanic. You can understand why I'm always nervous with that word. But I could imagine that Harry thought that that was just a word. And if I put it to you like this, the first time I'd ever heard that term used, I've never heard it used in the United States, ever. I'm not conscious that I've ever heard anybody in the United States use that. But when I heard it over there, I still wasn't sure if it was a bad thing. And then I finally found out, oh yeah, that's not polite. You know what I'm saying? So if you grow up and, like some people in the South like to throw that at the end of the N word. Now, some of them born down there and always use that term. And I'm talking about in the Deep South, some of the white people that always use that term. I wonder if they thought it was polite to throw the at the end of it, or that it was okay to throw the at the end of it. I'm pretty sure that some of them were ignorant enough to believe that at the end made it okay. You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily believe that all of them thought that that was bad, because that's how they grew up. So, I'm never one to judge anybody too harshly, as you know. I try to be optimistic and positive, but certain things you just can't ignore. Certain things you just cannot ignore. You cannot look away from. So Maureen Reed says, the Hispanic that is Black and don't want to say they have African in them call themselves Latino. That is Black and don't want to say they have okay. All right. So, but is that something for one particular group and not another? Or from one, foreign ancestry and not the other? Because I'm still confused about that. Which is proper? I know most applications, though, they say Hispanic on the application, I think. Yeah, so I'm never sure. But I give room for people's ignorance that in some cases they just don't know. They don't know. And then in other cases, they know and they love being clever and they just do. So yeah, that's and I'll just say this: the fact that I struggle with it means that I do care not to say things offensive, which is interesting considering everything that I just said about Jeepers Creepers. Where'd you get those peepers? But I really, I really don't want to offend people. And I guess in some ways, when it comes to the royals, that I have taken a bit of license where I wouldn't with the average person. But again, I do realize that my sarcasm is a way of dealing with some things that I find painful and difficult to understand or whatever. So, let me see. Focusing on the intent instead of the outcome hijacks the conversation away from the racial harm. Yes, we give graces, but we must condemn the behavior that harms. I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. But well, I'm going to tell you, I I met someone from another country. I won't say which, but there was a restaurant that was owned by someone of African descent, and the restaurant had the N word was part of the name, and so this person told me that until they came to the United States, they didn't understand that that was a problem, especially when they heard people calling each other that all the time. They did not understand that that was a problem. And of course, I had to inform that is a huge problem. Huge. I mean, it will stop a clock. It will turn the volume down. You don't even have to touch the volume switch. It just goes down. Everything changes when that comes out, just so you know. So, so I hear what you're saying, but like it or not, there are some people who just don't know. Like when Oprah went to Africa, right? Remember that? Oprah went to Africa, and one of the African men used that word in addressing her security guard, her bodyguard, one of her bodyguards. And he had to tell him, hey, man, that's not cool. We don't do that. But because he thought that that was an endearing way to approach an American of African descent, I suppose, he thought it was okay. So there are some people that are just plain ignorant of the history. And it's amazing how far people can get in life and not know that that's a problem. So, yeah. Or as they like to say, both things can be true at the same time. Sheila Clemens McKay, thank you so much for the super sticker, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. But yeah, so intent has a lot to do with it, of course. And as they say, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So yeah, I don't have all the answers. I struggle with certain things myself, and I have struggled with people and their idea of what's acceptable. And I hope that whatever the case may be, we can all meet in the middle, that we can get a good understanding and not offend or hurt each other. But I'm very hurt by that institution. You know, and to show you my connection, right? When the Queen died, the first thing my brother said, has anybody talked to Barron? Because he thought I was going to be upset. He thought that that would, you know, have this very bad impact. But, you know, I feel a certain way about a person when they get to be in their 90s. I'm just like, well, you know, is it really that awful? I mean, you know, They live their life. So I'm really pragmatic about these things. But knowing how I am about the history and the culture, he thought I might be more upset. So, as a caution, he just wanted to make sure I was okay. But again, the Duchess of Sussex changed everything because, as Al Sharpton said, what did he say? They exposed what was already there, and they are trying to blame Meghan for their being exposed. That's what changed. That is what changed. So I guess if there's a lesson here, you're never too old to change. And when I saw someone that looked like they could be in my family, when I look at Doria, I see my mother. When I see someone like that being hurt, that changes everything. That changes everything, especially when I know that they are innocent. Innocent. They were so afraid that William is a bully was going to come out of that Oprah Winfrey interview that in the 11th hour, they decided, you know what? Why don't we say Meghan is the bully? And it was just that easy. That's what's so frightening is how easy that type of evil is conjured up, almost like somebody hit a switch. They decided to layer on the princess pushy. They decided to layer on the tropes about Black women. And they decided to layer on this idea that she's an American. And they came up with narcissist and bully. That's what they came up with. And even today, you will still find someone who will say, I wonder why she's not with Harry while he's doing this book tour. You know, she never likes to be away from the camera. If the last few years has shown us anything, is that she's okay away from the camera. She's got two children, a very fine home, and she has a mama and other family that she doesn't even talk about. So where that's concerned, it's not Meghan, the single actress. This is Meghan, the mom and the wife, and still a daughter. That's who she is. Meghan, the philanthropist, entrepreneur, and everything else behind the scenes, which is, according to her own words, what she wanted to do anyway. But still, it's not convenient to say what she's doing or the real person that she is. It's better to play on the racist tropes. It's better to play on the anti-American feel, right? And also exposed. Rather than face the fact that Brexit was a huge mistake, they just add Meghan to the pile of anti-others, anti-American, anti-Europe. Of course, she ain't got nothing to do with Europe, but by using hostility for her, it helps to conceal the fact that the lowest performing economy in Europe today is Britain, the UK. When they want to do things or say things or hide things, we'll talk about Meghan today. Why don't we do that? How about 2 or 3 stories about Meghan? We're not going to face the floundering economy. Not while we got Meghan. It's some important things that they could talk about, but instead they make it about Meghan. Always about Meghan. Meghan and Harry, Harry and Meghan. Do you know that in Wales, in Wales a program at a school. I forgot what the program was, but I think it's, I don't know how many students. It was to study something, and I forgot. I was going to talk about it, and I'm like, no, I don't want to keep talking about the Brexit. But because of Brexit, this school has lost funding that came from the EU. There's a lot of programs, a lot of things in Britain, in Scotland, in Wales, the United Kingdom, in England, a lot of programs that are ending because the funding has been withdrawn per Brexit. But is that the front page? Will they or won't they come? That's news. Will they or won't they come? That is more important than what we do and don't have because of Brexit. Make that make sense. That evil was noticed by people like me who were minding our own business and never heard of Princess Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. The evil shocked us into action. Racists are in denial, blind about this. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. And one of the ways, as you, who was that? Joanne Baker said earlier that people get offended when you talk about the royal family as though it's a slight on their culture. Well, yeah, it is a slight on the culture. If the culture revolves around that institution, and that institution is only existing because of the blood, diamonds, and labor of Black people, you would think that they would have a better temperament toward people of color, and especially amongst Black people. But even a trip to the Caribbean was an excuse to delay those repatriation flights from Britain to Jamaica and other parts of the Caribbean. The the Windrush people, they decided, well, we're not going to do any flights until Will and Kate return from the Caribbean. If what you're doing is so justified and so correct, why would you even stop it? I mean, if it's such an emergency to get people out of the country that happen to be Black, is such an emergency. It is so vital that we do this as soon as possible, but we can delay it until Will and Kate come back from the Caribbean. I think that's the definition of the R word. That's the definition of the R word. You will push them out as you pull in people from Ukraine, people who probably don't even speak the language. You will subsidize the people from Ukraine with funding from the government that you don't have to pay a nurse or a railway worker. So what's the emergency? What's the big deal with the flights? Why do you have to have people go to Rwanda to appeal for asylum? And not even enough people to make a difference. I think in all, Rwanda said, well, we only can handle 200 people. But there's thousands of people to consider, but we can only handle 200 people. And of course, the people that they were going to send just happened to be what? Black people. That's the R word. And how many people in Britain are tearing down the doors of number 10 or the Palace of Westminster and saying, oh, this is wrong. You shouldn't do this. Not enough. Not enough. Let me see. 10 says racism is rife in the UK, but well hidden to outside world. Black person is more likely to succeed in US than in UK. This week, a Black schoolgirl was set upon by 5 white girls. Tabloids are not covering it. I saw that. I saw that, and it was vicious. It was vicious, but they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it, but we got to get them people on that plane by midnight to Rwanda. And when the plane comes back, we're going to stop in Poland and pick up some more people from Ukraine and bring them over here and give them health insurance, give their host some room and board money. That's what we'll do. We'll send the planes out. I shouldn't say nothing. They might be listening. But we can send the plane out with the blacks and bring back the whites. That's what we'll do. Matter of fact, we'll put them in Dumfries' house. How about that? Yeah, there you go. We'll put them in Dumfries' house. Write that down. Thank you, Baron. You're welcome. Write that down. We'll send them out full of people of color and bring back some proper Europeans. Suella Braverman, if you're listening. Oh, man. But yeah. Well, I kind of remember how we got on this topic, but I said what I said. And there is nothing in this world that will ever allow me to see that institution the same way as I did before Meghan got there. Boy, was I excited, and boy, was I wrong. I was so excited. I was just like, oh, there's going to be an African American in the royal family. How exciting. Princess Diana brought me to that family, okay? Princess Diana. It was Meghan that kept me with the family, right? But it was the institution that pushed me away. In that order. I hadn't really thought much about the family for a long time after Diana. I didn't care. William got married. I didn't care. I don't remember being the least bit excited for William. Never watched the wedding. Of course, I saw bits and pieces of it, but there was nothing that made me watch it. You know what I mean? And then suddenly, I hear Harry's getting married. Okay. I still didn't catch on. Then, probably a day or two later, I find out it's an American of African American descent. She's biracial. She has a mother with dreadlocks and a father that looks like a Yeti. Fine. It's interesting. I'm excited now. That's what made me excited, because of, that. That's what made me excited, is the whole, African American thing. Only to find out, and it took a while, but only to find out that there was a hostility. And I didn't catch on to it right away. I noticed it, all right? I did notice it. But then at the same time, I just thought, well, that reporter, I don't like that reporter. And then I started learning the names of the reporters. Why do I know the names of reporters? Because of the way they treated Meghan. That's why. Because of the way they treated Meghan. I'm going to tell you something else too. before I realized that they were out to get her, before I even went to the UK for the wedding, well, during the wedding, but I was going anyway, I was already saving photos of Meghan. Meghan and Harry and Meghan. I started saving photos because I was excited. I mean, I felt so good. I felt so good. And then when I saw them going to the different places and people loving and screaming and all that kind of stuff, boy, did I feel good. But I kept hearing this air of negativity. Well, she didn't curtsy right. Well, she can't wear this. Well, such and such and such and such. And that just kept going. And I'm just like, okay, well, she'll get better. She'll know what to do. But then I was like, no, they're being hypercritical. But still, I didn't think it was racism because I'm still nursing that high from the wedding. And I remember when they made a big deal out of the fact that she hugged someone, actually a few people, in Cardiff. I still remember that. And what a big deal it was. And I'm just like, oh, well, she won't be able to do that no more, huh? Well, I guess they got their way of doing things. But I didn't know that it looked so much like Diana that they were disturbed by it. The excitement was so much like Diana that they were just nervous about it. I didn't realize. It took a while. And then I started listening to Tina and Michelle. And I'm like, yeah, that is what that is. Yeah, that they have been. And I couldn't believe that it all started sinking in. I couldn't believe it. When it started sinking in, I was just like, yeah. And then at the same time, hello, remember him? I'm looking at him, and for a while, he was just like, well, we don't know. Well, this and that. He was trying to be very impartial. But then he got so excited when Trump came to town. That was when I first blocked or deleted or whatever. Fine. But then that wasn't enough because then I find out that, from watching Tina and Michelle, I found out that he had an end for Meghan and that he was tired of, because, not because of Tina and Michelle, but because someone mentioned it on there. And Michelle just said, no, Tina said, yeah, that's true. That is, at first she didn't want to talk about it. But then, of course, she just, it wasn't like she revealed anything because people were already talking about it. But someone who was in one of his group chats or whatever overheard it and started telling people on Twitter and stuff, he's such and such and such and such. Did you know that? And such and such. And so, Michelle didn't want to talk about it. But then finally she's like, well, that seems to be what happened. And so from that point, there was just no going back. That had solidified everything. And I remember how I kept looking at the Queen, wondering if she was going to do something. But it was a cry for help that was never answered. The Queen just backed away, retreated into her stuff, and it was like they were on their own. And it just got worse and worse and worse. So once you become a pickle, you can never become a cucumber again. And that is what happened. I was a cucumber sitting up there minding my own business. And then suddenly I find myself pickled. And I am going to be a kosher deal for the rest of my life. Crunchy, juicy, and delicious. So that is what happened. But yeah, so all of that, and there was someone that I was that used to message me on the Twitter that said, "I know you're a royalist," and of course I blocked that person because I don't know that I was ever a royalist. I don't believe I was. Now, an Anglophile, yes, I will confess to that one, but a royalist, no, because I promise you, as I'm sitting here on this program right now, when I saw the Queen at the Trooping the Colors, one of the people around me that I had, talked to for about the past 2 hours, I just casually mentioned, I said, well, when she goes, all this goes too. He's like, you think so? I said, yeah. I said, this is unsustainable. So even at that point, after the wedding, when I was at the height of ecstasy of all things Harry and Meghan, I still recognized, and I say this to you with all honesty, I still recognized in that moment that this is unsustainable. I knew enough to know that the Queen was the glue holding it all together. I didn't think, and I still don't believe, that there's any purpose for that institution now that the Queen is gone. I mean, it really wasn't much use for it at the time. And now it really serves no purpose because in response to the way that they have treated Meghan, you have got the Commonwealth people, more and more of them have opened their eyes and they're not going back. You have people in the US that have opened their eyes and they're not going back. Whatever they say about popularity, that's wishful thinking. Those are not solid numbers. Those are wishful thinking. And all of this, and Harry and Meghan rarely making an appearance. What do you think it would be like if they really turned on the charm? I mean, full time. They should be lucky. They should be very glad and appreciative that they have children. Because if not, the idea of a, how do they call it? A, what is that? What is it? The competition court, the rival court. There would be a court rivalry. Court rivalry is when people are within the same court. Outside of that, a rival court is when you have a whole nother royal household that is in competition or stark differences and popular in comparison to the other royal household. So that is something that is happening. We have been forced to choose. And the only reason why we were forced to choose is because of that institution and because of the media that work as a propaganda tool for that institution. Other than that, we didn't ask to choose. This was a position that we were pushed into. We were coerced into choosing. Coke or Pepsi? I don't know whichever's on sale. Now is Coke or Pepsi? Coke or Pepsi? Well, I don't know. If I have to choose, then I will. But if I just pick whichever is on sale or whichever is convenient, I've never run out of a restaurant because they didn't have Pepsi. I never run out of a restaurant because they didn't have Coke. But now I feel like I got to go someplace else because I've been put in a position where I was forced to choose. Didn't ask for it. I just wanted to see the Sussexes Sussex. I just wanted to see them go and do the work of the Commonwealth and reach out to people and hug people and make people happy. make each other happy. And Meghan could be the first of this and the first of that. Interesting, exciting. But instead, I saw Meghan being sat upon, abused, mistreated, lied upon. She's putting in a jacuzzi. She's putting in a yoga studio. She's got a new custom-made carpet bathtub that was hand-hammered in Hammersmith or Stein or something. All that stuff. So, there you go. All right, you guys, we should call this. Here it is, almost 3.5 hours, which is exactly what I said was not going to happen, which is exactly what I said yesterday, and here we are. But this is the absolute last time, unless it's New Year's. Plus, I could have sworn, let me see. Didn't I see Anne? When is she on? In 13 minutes. So go pee, get yourself a refreshing beverage. And yeah, and you can get your Anne on. Oh, thank you, Lydia. Wasn't expecting to go there, but I guess I had that on my chest. And now I feel better. But I said what I said. That institution, I hate that this happened, but I don't hate it enough that I could ever go back to the way things were. That's impossible now. That is impossible. Impossible. Okay, so with that, let me say thank you. Oh, by the way, Tim, thank you so much for the super chat. And thank you for watching Royal Sussex. And oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much for staying. Do you now? Well, thank you. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, like I say, the Sussex Squad prayers are powerful, and we're going to keep on praying, and we're going to keep on pulling out receipts. We're going to be unwavering in our support. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So Meghan's home now, and now it's Harry's home too. This is where Harry belongs. That island is not big enough for Harry. Harry needs a kingdom of his own. He doesn't need to be restricted by that institution. If he had stayed there, I promise you, they would have there would have been a Princess Margaret scenario in his future. Because in spite of everything, I have to say, Meghan has shown so much strength and optimism where so many other people would have imploded, would have collapsed under the pressure. That I do believe. That her strength, her character, her inner peace, all of those things work together to help hold her and carry her through this. Because she went in there a whole and complete person. And that's just not something that people can take away from you. When you know yourself, when you know your talent, when you know what you're capable of, when you know your value and worth, nobody can take that away from you. It'd be different if she went in there like this aimless, lifeless, inadequate, mediocre. Yeah, if she had went in there like that, she wouldn't have survived this. But instead, she went in there a whole and complete successful person. So that made a huge difference. Thank God. Okay, where was I going here? So thank you to our queens. I believe that the watchful eye of our queen in heaven and the love and support of our queen in California is very important in this family. So that gives me hope and optimism too. All right. So the last word today is let me see here. Good one, Matty B. Ancestor strength. That's what it is. That's the strength of the ancestors. I like that. Thank you so much for that. And that will be our last for today. And thank you, moderators. Thank you, everyone, for your contributions. And so at this point, I am going to cue the Ginger Avenger, and I will see you all tomorrow. Yeah, I'll see you all tomorrow. Hopefully earlier. Hopefully. We didn't do too bad today, though. So cue Ginger Avenger.